So here's the engine for the Honda Melody Mini. It's hydrolocked, as I've mentioned, so I'm going to try and get the oil out of it now, and hopefully it should turn over freely and be usable when I come to put it all back together. So I took the spark plug out. I've got it hanging so that the exhaust port's facing downwards, because hopefully that's where all the oil's going to come out of. And then try and turn it over. I've never done this before. Don't really know what I'm doing. Let's see what we can get out just by turning it over. So it sounds quite wet in there. There's a little bit of oil coming out of the port. We may end up having to take the head off it and the cylinder and try and tip everything out around past the piston, maybe flush it out with something. So I think that's probably my next job. So I've got to remove all the bolts from this cowling first. Some of them are already a bit loose. I've not got any other fan-cooled bikes, this is the only one. It sucks the air, I'm assuming anyway, it sucks the air in through that vent and it comes out of this one. Bit cool, because obviously with it being a plastic pig, it's all hidden underneath cowlings and things. So these appear to be 10mm bolts, and that one appears not to be going anywhere. Probably because I'm doing it the wrong way. So it may end up having to come down off this stand thing that I made. Say made, it's a broom handle and a load of trays. Ah, there we are. So that's one 8mm bolt. But this is the next 8mm bolt coming out. Hopefully without being rounded off too much. It's pretty stiff though. I imagine all of this underneath will need a good clean anyway, because if crap gets in the fins then it's going to overheat, even with the air being pumped past it. So it's not such a bad thing that I have to take it apart anyway, it's just a pain. By this point, of course, you've already had to undo a load of screws just to get near the engine if you want to change the spark plug or anything like that. So if I'd have done all this in one go, I'd have been pretty used to fiddly little bolts by now. Two out. What else have we got? Ah, there we are. Tiny little cylinder. Presumably there's some around this side. Hold it on, there's one. Get the ratchet on that one. Well, I've got it off, but it's not the best way of doing it. Okay, so I've taken the cylinder off the Honda now. Here it is. How piddly is that? That is weeny. I wish I'd filmed it, because I'm not now sure which way on that goes. It seems to only go one way, and I imagine it's very important for the airflow and it will overheat if I do it wrong. However, there's oil coming out of here, so I'm going to tip it. You can watch. See all this oil coming out just here? Plenty of it. That rag underneath. Oh, we're migrating. Alright, let's just move this and do a bit more. There's loads of oil coming out. So I was right, it was hydrolocked. Turn it upside down. Don't know if you can still see that. Loads and loads of oil. So what I'm probably going to do is give it a bit of a flush out with some petrol and then put it all back together. I'll inspect the rings while I'm here. They all seem okay. So basically just give it a swill out and a good clean, put it back together, hopefully the right way, and we're away. Right, so what I've done is I've used a razor blade to scrape this off as best I can, all the base gasket. I've honed it, as you've seen, so it's looking a bit better in there. And I've done the same around here. I've also made a template on the back of a spaghetti bolognese ready meal box. So that's a base gasket. It saves me going and ordering one and spending all the money on it and waiting for it to arrive. And there's the gasket I've made. So let's put it on. Now the holes aren't quite big enough for the studs, unfortunately, but it should be able to screw through it. I just used a punch. It needed to be a 6mm hole, and the biggest one I had was 5. So there we are, one base gasket. Make sure the transfers are nice and clear, which they are. And then get the rings lined up. Right, just to show you, there's your little dowel that stops the... Come on, focus, you bugger. There's a little dowel that stops it moving past, but it's quite sunken. I've tried it out like that, and it does actually stop it moving round, but it'd be very easy for it to jump it, and then put the piston on like that, and I'd end up catching transfer ports, scoring things, and it'd be terrible. So I'll try and avoid doing that. Set you back up. There we are. Right, so get it lined up nicely. Right, the head's on now. Just finger tight, so I need to torque it up and check the orientation of it to make sure it's not on the wrong way round. And then we can see about putting this whole girl back together again.